and the All Indiana Podcast Network. This is the News 8 Daily 8 Podcast, a Wish TV News 8 update.
Hello, I'm Jeremy Jenkins, and this is your News 8 Daily 8 Podcast for Friday, January 24th. We begin on Capitol Hill, where President Trump says he will appeal a federal judge's decision to temporarily block his executive order ending birthright citizenship. A federal judge in Seattle is calling the executive order blatantly unconstitutional. The order, set to take effect on February 19th, would deny automatic U.S. citizenship to children born to immigrant parents. So far, 22 states and several immigrant rights groups have filed at least 5 lawsuits challenging this order. And back here in Indiana, state lawmakers are pushing for local law enforcement to take part in notifying federal authorities anytime they arrest someone they believe is in the country unlawfully. News 8's Garrett Bergquist reports.
State lawmakers say they want to require local law enforcement to notify federal authorities of any arrests of people they believe are in the country unlawfully.
News 8's government reporter Garrett Bergquist has been following this story. He tells us what would lead to an arrest under this new bill.
The bill's author says it doesn't significantly change what police do because anyone affected by the bill would already be heading to jail.
When you're arresting a person for a felony or misdemeanor, the officer, in order to charge that, they're going to need some identifying information, whether that be a license, a social security number, even a name. They can start to look you up. Anybody that is arrested is going to need that information. So that is the determination, and that is when the determination is made, only after the arrest for the misdemeanor or the felony.
Under the bill, if an officer has probable cause to believe the person is in the country unlawfully, they have to notify the county sheriff during the jail intake process. The sheriff then must notify federal authorities. Immigration advocates say the bill could easily ensnare people who are in the country legally, or even people born here. Carolina Castoreno was born and raised here, but says that happened to her personally.
I was pulled over, I was detained, and I was questioned about my status. I speak perfect English. I am a citizen of this country. I did not happen to have my social security card on me at the time, and even though I had my driver's license, that wasn't enough for them.
The bill comes as the Trump administration launches a series of immigration actions at the federal level. Refugee resettlement programs have been paused. Federal troops are being deployed to the southern border. A House committee approved the bill on a bipartisan, though not unanimous, vote.
It does not affect those just walking down the street. It's only those that are arrested for a felony or misdemeanor. And oftentimes that determination will be made by the lack of a license, a lack of the documentation. So the individuals that said that they may be targeted, if they've got that documentation, that is not going to occur.
But Castoreno says migrants might not always have their paperwork on them at their jobs, and paperwork often takes time to get mailed to them. She says the bill could lead to racial profiling.
If our objective is to focus on violent criminals, then we should be doing just that. Whether they are undocumented immigrants or whether they are United States citizens, violent crimes are more of a concern than people who are simply trying to get to and from their job every day and take care of their families and contribute to this economy.
The bill now heads to the full House for further consideration. At the State House, I'm Garrett Bergquist for Wish TV, wishtv.com, or follow us on Facebook for updates.
IMPD's chief is making it clear that his department will not take part in federal immigration sweeps or question some suspects about their immigration status. Chief Chris Bailey issued this statement yesterday. IMPD does not have the authority to enforce federal immigration laws. IMPD has not been asked to take part in immigration sweeps, nor do we have any intention of doing so. This is not our role. IMPD officers do not inquire about an individual's immigration status during routine investigations. In other news, prosecutors have added a feticide charge against a man accused of shooting his pregnant estranged wife. The charge against Jeremy McBride stems from the death of his wife's unborn baby after the shooting this past Sunday at a home on Pleasant Run Parkway North Drive. Prosecutors had already charged McBride with attempted murder after police say he shot the woman 5 times in the back. The woman survived but suffered severe injuries. Let's talk sports. In Pacers watch, a rough second half spoiled the team's first game in Paris. The Pacers could not stop the Spurs' French star, Victor Wembanyama, in the second half. Early fourth quarter, Wemby atones for missing a 3 with his own alley-oop off the backboard. Final score 140-110. The Pacers will get a shot at redemption tomorrow when they face the Spurs again in Paris. Tip-off is at noon. And Colts Watch, the team's new defensive coordinator, says he will always keep it real with his players, even if it's tough to hear. The team introduced Lou Anarumo at the Colts complex Thursday. He is stepping into a defense with plenty of room to grow. Last season, the Colts ranked 29th in the NFL in yards allowed and 24th in league points allowed.
And I'm going to be a truth teller. I'm going to tell them the truth. It's my job to say, yes, you're doing it right, or no, you're doing it wrong. And, you know, that will happen, and it will happen to all of them. I don't care number of years in the league. I don't care. You know, it's just something that, you know, I've always believed in.
Anarumo was fired by the Bengals after their defense allowed more points per game last year than the Colts. When it comes to the weather, prepare for a bright but cold day. Storm Track 8 says we will get out of the single digits, but not very far. Meteorologist Tara Hastings has your News 8 Daily 8 forecast.
Temperatures here anywhere between 10 and 20 degrees, colder than what we were 24 hours ago. We've got mostly sunny conditions out there right now. A gorgeous view in Speedway, and officially at the airport, we are at 7 degrees with westerly winds very light at 3 miles an hour, creating a wind chill feels like temp at 0. Hey, everybody, as far as air temperatures are now in the positive readings here. Feels like it is 1 in Lafayette and in Richmond. We're at 8 below in Richmond. In Muncie, we are at 7 with a feels like temperature of 2 below. It feels like 11 below in South Bend, and 7 is our actual air temperature in Bloomington right now. Satellite picture shows that we do have mostly clear skies, and I think we're going to be sunny all day long today. We'll get up into the lower 20s later this afternoon. 22 degrees in Indianapolis, 19 in Kokomo, Muncie, and Richmond, and then right around the upper 20s in southern sections of Indiana. We have a warmer weekend on tap. We'll talk about how high those temperatures will go, all in my full forecast.
To get a peek at Tara's full forecast, just head over to wishtv.com. And don't forget, conditions will change throughout the day, so to make sure you have the most up-to-date forecast, just download the Wish TV Storm Track 8, and for a more detailed look, check out our Storm Track 8 weather blogs. This has been your News 8 Daily 8 podcast for Friday, January 24th. I'm Jeremy Jenkins for Wish TV, wishtv.com, or follow us on Facebook for updates.
This is the News 8 Daily 8 podcast, a Wish TV News 8 update on demand. For even more, on demand and on the go, connect with Wish TV on Facebook at wishtv.com and on the free Wish TV mobile app. Thank you for listening, and be sure to like, subscribe, and follow this podcast for updates every weekday morning on the All Indiana Podcast Network and wherever you get your podcast.